Hey guys, hope you're doing well. So today we're going to do another photography tutorial. Today we're going to be doing how to expose an image. Now you're probably going to be like, Ricky, what are you talking about? What is exposure? Exposure is basically how bright or dark an image is. So we're going to figure out how to do that, what settings we're going to use to do that, and let's do it. So when it comes to exposing an image, there is this thing called the exposure triangle. Basically, what it is basically you have three settings that you would use to expose an image. So you have a ISO, you have your aperture, and you have your shutter speed. So to get a correct exposure for an image, you would have to do a mixture of all three settings. Now, bear in mind, when you are inside or outside, there are two completely different settings, which we will get into. But you will need to do a mixture of all three. Now, one setting might have a massive effect on all the others, so you will have to do a bit of a trial and error to get the correct exposure. So with that all said, let's get into what each one does. So here we have the back of the camera screen, and this here is all your settings that you'll need to expose your image correctly. So here is the ISO, this is your aperture, and this is your shutter speed. Now the easiest one to understand is your ISO. Now what the ISO does is basically artificially brightens or darkens your image. Here I'll adjust. So as you can see, as I'm bringing that up, that is getting brighter. And as I bring it down here, it gets dark. So that is the easiest one to explain. Next, we'll go over the aperture. Now, the aperture is actually the only thing that is a physical thing. There is a physical ring inside the lens which controls the aperture. Now, each lens is different. You will have a different number for each one. With this, we can go up to f1.8, but you may have some lenses that go up to f4. Either way, all it does is basically, as you can see, the image here is in focus and everything else in the background is not. That is basically what an aperture does. Now, if we bring the ISO up a little bit more and then adjust the aperture, you'll see that the image actually gets darker, but more things in the background become clearer. So as you bring this aperture up, the image gets darker. So let's bring this back to f1.8. Now the next thing, and last but not least, the shutter speed. So if you bring the shutter speed up higher, the image will get higher. And as we bring the shutter speed down, you can go all the way up to 8,000. And there you can see the image is basically black and you can hardly see a thing. Now what the shutter speed does, it basically controls how quick the shutter opens and closes. So the bigger the number, the faster the shutter speed. So we will bring this back up. And there you have it. There is your correctly exposed image. So those are the three main settings that you would need to correctly expose an image. Now what I want you to do is go out, take an image, try different things out using different settings. And then what I want you to do is just send it over to Team O and let us have a look. And then we might even share it and post it on our Facebook page. So can't wait to see your images, and we'll see you soon in the next lesson.